I'm honoured to introduce a statement now from Mark Rylance, who's been a huge supporter of Peace One Day right from the very beginning when we launched in 1999 at Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. Mark made this statement a few weeks ago, just before the 20th anniversary of the Iraq War. He's going to tell you about a man who fought for peace on a daily basis. His name was Brian Hall. Let's listen to the incredible, inspirational and true friend of Peace One Day, Mark Rylance.
Hi, this is Mark Rylance reaching out to all my friends at Peace One Day. I started a project a month or so ago, and as we approach this dreadful 20th anniversary of the beginning of the Second War in Iraq, 20th of March 2023, the anniversary of when Tony Blair and Bush took America and England into this dreadful war in Iraq, which led on to all kinds of other terrible problems, and most sharply included the use of depleted uranium to bomb particular sites. Depleted uranium will poison the land for 50,000 years. It will cause birth defects and illness for 50,000 years amongst the children in the area where those bombs were dropped. It's a crime against humanity in my mind. Something I feel personal shame for as a British citizen. As we approach this, I have been reminded of an incredible man in England. Those of you who are listening from countries abroad may think of England, quite rightly, as a very warlike nation. We not only fight in many wars, we sell weapons all over the globe. But there was one man, a man called Brian Hall, and Brian Hall was a man who was so upset by what he saw happening around him that he stood opposite the Houses of Parliament from 1999 to 2011 for 10 years, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. He stood until he died opposite the Houses of Parliament with a megaphone and sticks eventually, calling across the road, "Stop killing my kids." So when the politicians would come in and make their decisions about war, he would be there saying, "Stop killing my kids." Whatever you're trying to do as a governor, as a politician, do it without killing, not the kids, my kids. He was a very spiritual man, a man of the Christian faith. He stood there for all those years until he died, treating all the children and the people of the world who were suffering from the military aggression of Britain as his own, and trying to stop it. In London, we have lots of statues, as you can imagine, of military heroes, men and women who have felt that the only way to achieve peace in the world was to fight for it. This, you may agree with them, you may not. I feel it's time we had a statue in London for a true warrior who gave his life fighting for peace, but fought for the idea of peaceful resolution of conflict. As we do in our homes, in our places of work, when we travel around, in our communities, we don't look favorably on violent resolution of conflict, do we? I hope it doesn't happen in your community. Why do we put up with it in the international field of human relations? Why? In the last year, we found a wonderful place where we could put a statue of Brian Hall in London opposite the Imperial War Museum. It's an incredible building in London. It used to be a mental institution for the mentally ill called Bedlam, but now it's the Imperial War Museum. And we want to place a statue opposite the museum where Brian will be remembered for all time, and when the school children and the other people coming to the Imperial War Museum will know that people in England, people around the world, have stood for a better way of resolving our conflict than with war and violence, which nowadays, the fact of the matter is that wars are fought with civilians. Whatever the rights and wrongs you may feel about a conflict, you may feel this person's bad, this person's good, I'm going to support this. It's going to be fought with children, with old people, with women and men who do not want to fight. That's how wars are fought. It's a totally horrific way of resolving conflict. And this is something that Brian stood for. And so we have a crowdfunder page, Brian Hoare Crowdfunder. We give what you can. If you can give 10 pence, you can give £1. Get your name on the web page, because we'd like to have as many names as possible underneath Brian when he stands there on the side of a building facing the Imperial War Museum. Brian Hoare Crowdfunder. Even if you're not from England, it would be amazing to have your support. We've raised about 1/3 of the money we need, so we could really use some help. I hope you consider it. If we raise all the money and we get Brian standing up there in bronze, then we'll have a big party in the street opposite the Imperial War Museum and remind everyone that there really is a better way. It's a better way that we practice in most other parts of our society of resolving conflict than fighting wars and selling and giving arms to people who are fighting in other places. Thank you so much for hearing me out. I hope you will win your support. Brian Hoare Crowdfunder. My love and respect to all the supporters of Peace One Day. Bye now.